Okay, today we're going to talk about the standard form for circles. So standard form is the easiest form, and we'll do that for all these shapes. We'll do standard form and general form. Standard form, like I said, is usually the easiest to write the equation and to graph it. So we usually change the general form into the standard form. The standard form for circles is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where your center is hk. So you see how it's x minus h? You're going to do the opposite of what's in the parentheses. And that's going to give you your x value. Y minus k are going to take the opposite of what's with the y, and that's going to give you the y value of your center. Okay, and then your radius is going to be, see how it says equals r squared? So if you want to find just the radius by itself, you take the square root of that, and that'll give you the radius. Okay, so on our first example, our center would be, the opposite of x would be -2, the opposite of y would be +5. So my center is -2, 5. And you can go ahead and plot that. My radius would be the square root of 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. So I'm going to go 3 in all directions. I'm going to go 3 up, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. 3 down, and 3 to the left. And that's going to give me my circle. Okay, so that's what we're working on today. Graphing them and then just writing the equation in standard form. Okay, and then we'll, I think it's Thursday, we'll do general form. All right, second example. My center for the second example, do you see how I don't have x minus or plus anything? That means it's 0, because x plus 0 is just x. My y, same thing, would be 0. So go ahead and plot your center at 0, 0. My radius would be the square root of 16, which is 4. So I'm going to go 4 to the right, 4 to the left, 4 up, and 4 down, and that's going to give me my circle.
Your underwear is the first thing you put on and the last thing you take off. Why would you spend for anything?
So your graph should look like that.
MeUndies will deliver your new favorite pair of underwear right to your door. It's made with a fabric that is scientifically proven to be 3 times softer than cotton.
Okay, last graphing example. Now with this one, you want to make sure you take out the greatest common factor first, because it's going to make things a lot easier. So here, you can see that 4 goes into all 3 numbers here, the coefficients and the number it equals. So what we're going to do first is take out a 4 from every single term. Okay, so that leaves us with x squared plus y squared equals 124 divided by 4 is 31. Alright, so now I can figure out my center. My center here would be 0, 0. So I'm going to plot that point, 0, 0. Okay, my radius is going to be the square root of 31. Okay, and I want y'all to break it down if you can. Go ahead and simplify the radical. But 31 is a prime number, so we can't break this down anymore. So we're just going to leave it the square root of 31. Now, to graph this, what I do is I put in my calculator the square root of 31. Okay, so go ahead and put it in, square root of 31. To me, it's easier to see a decimal, especially when I'm graphing, because I don't know how big the square root of 31 is to go right, left, up, and down. So the square root of 31, you punch that in your calculator, you get about 5.568. So I'm gonna go about 5.5 to the right, 5.5 to the left, up and down. So to me, this is a lot easier to graph than the square root of 31. But I do want to know that the radius, what the radius is. I want to know that as a radical if it doesn't, if it's not a perfect square. But to graph, you probably want to figure out what the decimal is. Okay, so I'm going to go 5.5 to the right. So it's going to be in between 5 and 6. I'm going to go 5.5 up. Once again, it's between about 5 and 6. 5.5 to the left. 5.5 down. Your circle should look something like this. Alright, so that's how you're going to graph your circles. Find your center, find your radius, and then graph it. To write the equation in standard form is what we're going to do on the next two problems. So we're going to go backwards. They gave us the center. So on number 4, our center is 4, 2. And our radius is 6. Okay, so my equation is going to be x minus 4 squared. Remember, you're going to do the opposite. Okay, so make sure you have that squared plus y minus 2 squared. Make sure you have this one squared. It's not a circle unless your x is squared and your y is squared. They both have to be squared. If not, it makes a completely different shape. Okay, equals r squared. So what is r squared? And 6 squared is 36. Okay, so that's how we're going to write the equation today. Thursday, I think it's Thursday, it's going to get a little bit more complicated when we talk about general form. Or maybe it's tomorrow, but today we're just going to use standard form. So number 5, our center is at -2, 3, and our radius is 2 square root of 3. Yeah, okay. So our equation would be x plus 2 squared, remember you do the opposite, plus y minus 3 squared equals the radius squared. Okay, now to do the radius squared, you can do it 2 different ways. You can put it in your calculator. Just make sure you put parentheses around it and then square it outside. And that might be the easiest way to do this. So punch in parentheses 2 square root of 3. Close your parentheses and put the squared outside, and it'll just tell you what the answer is. The other way you can do it is you can square the 2, which is 4, square the square root of 3, which would cancel out that square root and the square. The green is too light to see. So 2 squared is 4, the square root of 3 squared, those will cancel and just give me 3. And then you can multiply those and it'll give you 4 times 3 is 12. So like I said, the calculator is probably the easiest way. All you have to do is punch it in and it gives you the answer. Alright, so that's what y'all are going to do today. So you'll do the worksheet. Once you're done, if you want to work on your project, kind of start coming up with ideas on your graph, I would do that. And yeah, that's all you're doing today. Y'all have a great day.